We all know there's an advantage to being the home team, to playing at home. And at LGKG, we have been your home team for over 90 years.
We're more than just a law firm. We're your friends, your neighbors, an advocate when life takes an unexpected turn.
We're not just lawyers that practice law. We live in this community, just like you.
When you need us most, we're at our best.
At MP Coney Island, it's all about the chili and has been for nearly 100 years since we opened in 1923. We helped put Newcastle on the map as the hot dog capital of the world. Visit our store, place an order for pickup at mpconeyisland.com, delivery with DoorDash, or find the grocery store near you with our chili locator on our website. Want to own your own MP Coney Island? Now you can with our franchise system. At MP Coney Island, it's all about the chili.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Take a Bow, where we talk pretty much everything theater. And today, I have a special guest. Not only was he my best man in me and Cassie's wedding, but he is also a very prestiged actor and director in the Pittsburgh area. He's shaking his head. I like to bust his chops a little bit. But Nick Mitchell is here. He's directed
a few things.
Quite a few shows.
Things here and there.
Yeah, he has directed Evil Dead, which is running until the
Till the 26th.
till the 26th.
Friday and Saturday this week, still going.
So
still bleeding.
Can we still get tickets?
There actually are tickets available for both those performances. No splatter zone.
No splatter zone.
We'll get more into that later, but
yeah, no splatter zone, but you still could see the show. And this is what, the fifth time you've done it?
This is the fifth time. It would be the fifth annual, but there was that weird time where we all didn't look at each other's chins and stayed in our house.
Yeah,
so
we wore those masks and hid under
it was like V
beds.
for Vendetta everywhere you look.
Yeah, so we had a little hiatus for a year or two.
But 5 years running now.
5 years running for Evil Dead, and it's been I was at the first one, and it was it's been a success the whole time, right?
Yeah.
I mean, people are coming.
Yeah, anytime we close, the first question to Pittsburgh Musical Theater usually is, so when's Evil Dead coming back?
So
it was last week.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
but it is that fast that they ask.
And the nice thing about that is, it brings more than just the theater audience, right? I mean, nothing's better than a horror community audience. I mean, there's so many horror fans. And I think Evil Dead definitely brings in a good, different group of people at times, right?
Yeah, it's really a musical for people who think they don't like musicals. It's that perfect date night when, one half of a couple wants to see a musical and the other half, and we're going to be completely gender fluid here, because let's face it, either way, it can go either way.
It can go either way.
But people say, musical's not really my thing. And, everybody kind of wants to laugh, hear jokes about sex, and see splattered blood everywhere.
Americana. I mean, it's
add some show tunes to it that are way better than they have any right to be.
No, they rock out. I mean, you guys rock out in that show. I mean,
we do a 4-person band that Dr. Francesca Tortorella,
she's wonderful,
music director, she puts together, and every year I tell the guitarist, have more fun.
Have more fun.
Just wail on it. There's a couple moments in particular. It's like, do the guitar solo, do the long one.
Riff a little bit, right? Yeah. Yeah, it's Francesca. She's I've worked with her a few times. She's great. She's very, I don't want to say a perfectionist, but she makes sure everybody's on top of their game, and she does a really nice
She
job.
does
as
not
well.
suffer fools easily.
No, not at all. She's a tough music director, and that's the kind we need for sure. So Evil Dead's going great. We've got another weekend of that. You can still get your tickets for that final weekend that they added.
PittsburghMusicals.com.
PittsburghMusicals.com. Yeah, so, other than that, I just saw you in one of the best performances I've seen, in one of my favorite plays I've ever seen. It's the second production I've ever seen. Not that it's not like I've seen like 10, but I love the show.
This is like a classic radio tease. What's he going to say?
Yeah.
What's the play?
Drum roll, please. Angels in America. So, Angels in America, Part 1.
Yep.
And you played the role of Roy Cohn.
Yeah. I just got to be a massive prick.
Yeah.
And found I
Was
actually
that hard?
had to act.
No, you had to act.
A little.
You're like, oh, darn.
I was halfway there.
You were halfway. You needed that second half. Yeah.
Exactly.
But that's one of those roles that has been played by some of the best actors of all time. Dustin Hoffman played him. And it's a real character. It's based off a real
Based
person.
on a real human.
Al Pacino, Nathan Lane.
Yep.
And Nick Mitchell.
There you have it. It was one of Donald Trump's attorneys, actually,
Yeah.
at one point, and of the whole family. And so, a real live person. There was a documentary years ago of Trump having a quote saying, "Where's my Roy Cohn?" when he was in legal trouble.
Did he say that after Roy passed?
Yes,
Yeah.
it was. Because Roy died mid-'80s.
So he was like one of his first big lawyers.
Yep.
Then, Trump's.
Yep. And I wonder how much it was personal and how much it was the firm at that point. But Roy liked to rub elbows with the people who were important. He liked to see and be seen.
Oh yeah, he's very into being larger than life.
Yeah. In fact, there's a bunch of biographies about him out there, and he was a raging asshole. I can go that far, right?
Yeah.
He really was. And when I was doing some of my character study, I'm like, where do I go? I don't want to watch other performances. I don't want to watch people's imitations of him. My best, he had a self-help book that he, I think, mostly wrote. He might have ghost wrote it a little bit.
Yeah.
But that's actually where I was able to get into the mind even better. It's
Sure.
all about how to negotiate and how to say no and how to fight for what you want.
And that was what the act he was putting on.
Yeah.
Already, because he was learning. That's what he was playing.
Yeah, I don't know that I recommend reading Roy Cohn's self-help book. I don't know that it's necessarily a map to being a good human, but it was a map to being a good actor for me.
Yeah,
So, I'll take
sure.
that.
And a map for him to be successful.
There is definitely success if you read between those lines.
Yeah, and sometimes,
At what cost?
At what cost? Yeah, it didn't really pay off for him in the end.
In the end, no. In the end, and for those who don't know, he did die of AIDS. He denied his homosexuality because he felt it was a sign of weakness. So he was able to basically piss off both sides.
Yeah.
He was able to, and
It's like Caitlyn Jenner.
and died alone, swearing it was liver cancer. Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
So he died saying liver cancer, but it was.
And just before he died, a lawsuit went through that disbarred him. So he didn't even get to go out on top. Pretty much at the last minute, everything was taken away from him.
Just to
Insult
rub
to-
salt in the wounds.
To injury.
Yeah, and it's like and the
I
thing.
think they're lesions more than wounds, but yes.
Yeah, there were a lot of lesions there. But I think there's still he's such a and the way it's written and the way you played him, he's very entertaining. He had to be one of the most entertaining people. And when you're watching, he is he's the main event really of that show. There's so many great characters. There's some subtle roles. There's a little bit, there's a nice mix of characters in Angels in America that are all written beautifully.
Tony Kushner, the author, did a really good job, and he took this real life character and inserted him into this fictional slice of time And he calls it, if I remember correctly, he calls it a gay Fantasia.
Oh, really? I mean,
is one of Kushner's.
maybe that's why I like it, because Fantasia is like my favorite Disney movie.
Like the elephants and Mickey Mouse with the brooms and the sorcerer's hat. I mean, there's some good stuff going on there.
Oh yeah,
and
yeah.
the tunes
and the music is pretty.
And the
pretty,
tunes.
pretty good. I used to just go to my grandma's house and watch Fantasia after class and fall asleep, like just in peace.
Apparently, there's like a mini golf down in Orlando that is Fantasia themed.
Ooh, is it Disney's?
It
mini
is.
golf? It's actually sponsored by Disney.
It's somewhere on the Disney property, but not like in a park. It's like in between two of the resorts, and I don't know. Anytime we go down there, we always get a coupon for it.
Have you been there?
No,
No.
I,
But you get a coupon.
But I have many coupons.
Yeah, you do go down to Disney quite a bit.
We
though.
do. Well,
Yes.
we are pass holders at Disney. My wife Gemma and I.
And Gemma is the main stage manager at Pittsburgh Musical Theater.
Not only that, she is the director of production operations for Pittsburgh Musical Theater.
Right, she's very important.
And she's a equity stage manager who is pretty much their go-to for all of their equity shows, of which Evil Dead is one. She also choreographed Evil Dead, so
Nice.
if you think I'm busy.
Yeah, she's now choreographing. That's one of the
Yeah, our
harder
cats
things to
don't
do.
even know us anymore.
What's that?
Our cats don't even know our name.
They don't even know who you are.
Yeah.
It's all right. They'll remember. But yeah, so you guys do go to Disney a lot and everything. I don't know what that has to do with theater, but
Well,
here
you know,
we are.
honestly-
I mean, it kind of does.
Honestly, Disney, the parks, a lot of times, they understand how to do entertainment right. And sometimes when you think, oh, I just need to throw money at a problem, oh, I wish I could, it's one of the places where you can go and just let them take care of the entertainment.
It's nice.
And we're not trying to analyze their show. Do we still watch the performers and every now and then go, they're good?
Yeah, or like maybe not their best day.
Or that one's good.
Yeah, there are some wonderful shows. I mean, we just were down there in April, and I was like so impressed by the live Finding Nemo performance.
Oh,
I
yeah.
thought it was so cool, and they're beautiful, and the performers were on top of their game. Everything was like pitch perfect, and yeah, I mean, you do see some of the. I mean, you do see like pretty much Broadway talent down there. I mean, you're seeing close to Broadway talent.
I think a girl I went to college with was in that show forever pre-COVID, Bambi Fadul. She was Bambi Noltemeyer when I went to college with her. But I just kept saying picture after picture after picture of her, and always wished I'd got down there to see her in it.
What was she in? She was
In
in
Nemo.
Nemo.
She was
Oh,
in the
for
Nemo
real?
show.
There's this one guy. What did he play? I don't know. His voice was like kind of like Titus Burgess-y.
Yeah,
You
he
know
had
what I'm
like
talking
4 different roles.
Oh.
And I was like, oh, that's the track. Oh, no. Nope.
Oh, he's hitting high D's full voice.
That
Okay,
one's
yeah.
no longer the track I'd go for.
Yeah, like Titus Burgess would definitely play that in the movie. Or
With age
live.
comes a little bit of realism.
Yeah,
I used to go to the shows and be like, oh, I can play that, I can play that, I can play that. And now I go and I say, oh, that guy has that one nice little sing song and then leaves and sits in the dressing room for 2 hours. That sounds like a good gig.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it is nice to have sometimes smaller roles that are good, right? Then you can just come on stage for a scene or two.
The princess track, I think they call it.
Is that what?
Yeah.
That's a nice track.
And I teach at the Pittsburgh Musical Theater Conservatory as well. And I remember congratulating a student once and saying, you know, hey, you got it's the princess track.
Yeah.
Like, you don't even have to do that much. And I
Right.
forgot that, you know, when you're 16, all you want to do is be on stage. You don't
Yeah.
want to be sitting in the dressing room. And
She's not like us. They're like, oh, yeah, we know how to appreciate that.
she looked at me and she said, Mr. Nick, you have to know a princess track is only a good thing if you're getting paid.
And what do you even say to that? You're like, I guess you're kind of right. You got a
No,
point.
I was like, you nailed it. I hope you get there.
And how old was she roughly?
She was 16 probably.
16, yeah.
Yep.
So she was wise enough to
Julia
understand
Yeomans,
that.
I'm talking about you, just in case.
That's
You
pretty-
dropped
that's
that
pretty good.
knowledge on me, and it stayed with me.
That will stay. Those kind of things stay with you. But yeah, I mean, I think as you you get older, like you just want a good part. It doesn't really matter
Yeah,
the
you
size.
start going for a little more quality over quantity, and I'm that way about my directing projects as well.
Right.
I don't need to tell all the stories. In fact, I'm probably not even qualified to tell all the stories.
Yeah, right. Right.
But when I find one that I want to tell, that I have something to say, then it becomes all the more worthwhile.
Sure, and that's what makes a good show when you have some passion behind it. I mean, so let's go back a little bit. Like I first met you doing Gallery of Heroes.
Yeah.
And you had a run with Gallery of Heroes.
2016 or 17, right in there.
Yeah, 26. It was
January 2017?
It was 2015 into 2016.
Okay.
Yeah, because Cagney was born at the end of 2016. That fast-paced thing that happened during the run.
Hey,
yes.
life finds a way.
But that was like, what, your 9th year at the time? I mean, that you had done
I think that was my last year, I think.
that? Second to last. I think you
Okay, so if I did it 2 more
Maybe.
years, then that was my 10th, because I did it 11, because I wanted to beat, I think Jason Shavers had 10, and I was like,
You
I'll
wanted
be
to get
damned
that
if
one
Jason
more.
Shavers has more than me.
Sorry, Jason. So Nick is now the new record holder in the Guinness Book of World Records for Gallery of Heroes.
Still
which,
waiting for my certificate.
Yeah, I mean, it should be in the Guinness Book because that job is not a cakewalk by any means.
Tim Brady, who is a longtime stage manager for Pittsburgh CLO and other companies, has said, and actor before that, he's cut his teeth on the Gallery of Heroes years and years ago, and he'd
Yeah.
say, Nick, those are the hardest working actors in Pittsburgh. I'm telling you, they're the hardest working actors, and they don't get what they deserve. So you see somebody working on Gallery of Heroes, you shake their hand. That's
And
what
you're
Tim
like,
Brady.
well, do I shake my own hand, Tim? Because that's a good Tim Brady there.
That was all right. It was
That's a really good
half of my impressions are actually Ted Watts doing
things.
impressions of someone, but you know,
Well, Ted Watts, he's kind of,
he's an impressionist.
yeah, he can.
Like a Monet, I forget which one's the impressionist.
Basquiat? I don't know.
Nah.
I don't know. I don't know too many impressionists. But yeah, no, it's not an easy job. And like I said, you've been a working actor since right out of college. Where you went to
I moved to New York City right out of college.
yeah, where you went
Oklahoma
Tell us the
City
school.
University.
Oklahoma City. And who else went? Didn't somebody else famous go?
A few other famous people came from there. In my class, Kelly O'Hara, Tony Mayor, Kelly O'Hara, and then
She was in your class?
She was in my class. We were in our acting class together. And to this day, if I see Kelly O'Hara, I ran into her a couple times. I get the Rolodex treatment, which, I mean, she's met so many people.
Yeah.
She's like on Broadway, Tony winner. And I watch her and she goes, hey, how are you?
Took a second.
Like, oh, wait, it's cool.
Yeah.
And
She's
you
like,
see
sorry,
it.
I just had a scene with Brian Darcy James. Let me get back to real life here. Like,
Yeah, I was just Anna against Ken Watanabe.
yeah, or whoever she's worked with, like every big.
You name them.
You name a leading man in Broadway. And
She's worked with them.
Yeah, I mean, and has 100 Tony nominations to her name.
Yep.
So Kelly O'Hara, and then was Kristen Chenoweth.
Kristen Chenoweth was a little bit before me.
And you shared the same voice teacher.
We did. Florence Birdwell, who is now deceased, but left quite a legacy behind her.
Sure. I mean, geez.
She was
ain't
actually
bad.
she was cast as excuse me, I believe Ado Annie in the movie of Oklahoma, and then had a sickness affect her vocal cords because she was singing poorly, and missed the show and devoted the rest of her life to teaching people how to sing healthy.
Wow. Now, was that movie like the Hugh Jackman stage
No,
production?
this was way back many centuries ago.
Wait, who
this was
did?
the original. I don't remember. No,
Oh, okay.
I don't remember who actually played the
Wait,
roles.
you're talking about Kristen, right?
No, Florence
I'm
Birdwell.
so sorry.
I'm
That's
sorry.
why I was like,
Florence
wait,
Birdwell,
Oklahoma.
the voice teacher.
That's why I thought, I was like, Oklahoma, like which,
No.
the movie. So the original movie back in the 50s.
Yes.
Or whatever, maybe early
Yeah.
60s. Oh, wow. So she could have been Ado Annie there.
Yep. If I'm remembering the story correctly, there's 89% of those facts I'm positive about. I know it was Oklahoma. I know it was her.
Yeah.
I know it was one of the lead roles. I know she couldn't do it.
And we'll go with
I
Ado
think it was
Annie.
Ado Annie.
Yeah, we'll Snopes it later. It's
Yeah.
fine.
I mean,
so-
I can't say no.
So that's nice. So she basically got a career of like, well, I'm just going to teach people.
And she
make
taught
it.
at Oklahoma City University forever. Laura Teeter came out of there, another student who played Little Mary Sunshine on Broadway for a while. He was great.
Yeah.
She just had a legacy of talent that passed through there.
Sure.
You know,
yeah.
Kristen Chenoweth, Kelly O'Hara, Nick Mitchell.
Nick Mitchell. Yeah.
Every now and then they're
Don't
said in the
forget
same
him.
sentence.
The next Galileo. Nick
Usually
Mitchell.
only by Nick Mitchell.
Yeah. It's like you're usually first, and then we're like, oh yeah, and Kristen Chenoweth. But yeah, you wouldn't think like that in Kansas. Kansas City, right? Yeah.
Oklahoma City.
Why am I saying Kansas City?
That's all right, because everything's up to date there.
Yeah, Oklahoma.
Yeah.
I'm getting
It
everything.
was a few years behind Kansas City.
Yeah, it's all
Everything's
pretty
3
similar.
weeks behind
So
in
Oklahoma City,
Oklahoma
you
City.
would, but even if Kansas, Oklahoma, you would. That's not like where you expect like actors to come out of really, because
No.
you're thinking New York and even Pittsburgh now, because or always because of CMU and Point Park. But yeah, you wouldn't. I mean, that's definitely like a hidden gem. And
Yeah, and to this
The
day, I have a
Midwest.
few students who are going there.
Nice.
The reason I found it, I'd gone to a couple years of college, and then I had done a show in Meadville, Pennsylvania, just a few clicks north of
Yeah.
here. And I met a man named Dr. David Herendeen, and he was teaching voice at Edinburgh, and I was like, I'm going to go to be a star in New York City. And he said, I think that's a great idea. How about you get a little more training? And I said, okay, and went to Edinburgh for a year, and he was teaching there, and then he got the job of director of opera and music theater at Oklahoma City University.
real?
And he said, don't come here because of me, but you should definitely look at this school. So I sent a audition tape on a VHS in the mail in a big padded manila envelope.
wasn't from your iPhone back then.
I
huh?
sang Close Every Door from Joseph and
Nice.
Ave Maria from church.
Yeah.
And
From
for
God.
some reason, they liked it. They gave me some money, and I went down there.
Nice.
And
So it was all kind of like meant to be, and you were just a boy from Erie area,
Yep.
right? I mean, that's your background, and you did a lot of theater there before you went to college.
I was born in Pittsburgh and then grew up in Erie. I did stuff at the Erie Playhouse, and then did work with their youth theater some, did the high school shows. I went to Cathedral Prep, which we
Okay.
no longer is an all-boys Catholic school, but at the time that I was there, it was an all-boys Catholic school.
Yeah.
And I couldn't figure out how, even though I was on the water polo team, I wasn't meeting any girls. It was like weird.
Just boys. It was like, yeah.
So,
you had to do theater to meet girls.
I went
basically.
to the Villa Maria Academy to do the musical there to meet girls and did. And then at some point realized I was doing too much theater and I had to pick one. And
Hey.
I'll never make the Olympics as a water polo player anymore, but
Nah, I mean,
here I am.
you never know.
Talking to you,
Hey, you
so-
are competitive. We used to play 101. Whenever we had to perform Gallery of Heroes at
A lot of Catholic
in a
gymatoriums.
gymatorium, we would play hoops if we had a ball nearby. And Nick did not let me win. Nick, I mean, and I'm not a bad basketball player by any means, but you are very competitive and. You would take the
Sometimes to
wins.
a fault.
Sometimes to a fault, but yeah, I mean, it was. Yeah, I mean, I think it's it shows. It's good though. I think in theater though too, like it's good to have a little competitive nature. I think it
Absolutely.
helps. People don't like to talk about, oh, it's not a competition, but like you have to have that that drive, that a little bit of a chip. I think.
There's got to be something that's motivating you. You can be the nicest person in the world, you could be the most talented person in the world, but if you're not self-motivated to keep your headshots up, to keep your calls to your agent up, to keep everything, if you don't have the admin side of it and the drive, then you're
Right.
not going to succeed.
Right, or simply just bringing it at an audition, like
You go to some auditions and everybody's got the same talent level. Why does
Yeah.
one person get noticed and one person doesn't?
Yeah, I mean, it's look and impression and, luck and everything, timing, all kinds of stuff that goes into play with auditions. But yeah, so you got your start, you went to Oklahoma City, and from there, did you move right to Pittsburgh after
No,
that?
I spent 5 years in New York City.
You went straight to New York.
Yep, I did the whole New York City thing, and they were some of the best years of my life. It was 25 to 30 years old, which is a great time to live in New York. And during those 5 years, I managed to work my way into 5 auditions,
One a year.
which means I was probably having a little more fun
some
than
people
working on
do.
that admin column that I had just talked about.
Yeah.
At first, it was about, eating,
Yeah.
because I had to find a survival job, and it turns out that I was a really good waiter and bartender. So I ended up managing a bar that no longer exists. It was a bar inside a steakhouse called City Hall,
Okay.
and having the time of my
Is
life.
that in Manhattan or?
It was in Tribeca. It was just a few blocks north of the World Trade Center. In fact, my
wow.
Friday night regulars were FBI counterterrorism unit from the FBI office
That-
building that would come down,
Wow.
which they were
That's
a
interesting.
hoot.
Yeah.
Some of the best humans I've ever met in my life.
Really?
Honestly,
Good
like
people?
just hearts of gold. Love to
would've-
have a spot. I guess before I got there, because I moved there in '02 and I didn't start working at this place till '04. When it was really right after 9/11, Henry Meir, the chef owner, made sure that that place was one of the first that opened up, so there was nowhere else for them to go, 5 blocks north of the site.
Yeah.
And he was open, and they just found a home there. And,
Oh, wow.
they met, they got married. I went to weddings of theirs. I mean, it was just a great, great group of humans who had a place to go, and distracted me from performing. However, I will say, one of the things that got me to leave New York City is I had played the role of Dan Caffey in A Few Good Men when I was 19. A little too young for it, but I had done it.
Which part? Who played that in the movie?
Tom Cruise.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah. Barely played.
It's Sorkin. He had to say the lines.
Yeah, no, and it worked.
There's no
All
way
he had to do
Sorkin
is
would
say
have
the
not
lines.
let him say the lines.
Actually, I mean, he did fine in that.
Yes.
I mean,
It was. In fact, it's one of his better.
Yeah, I mean, he's a superstar, but it's.
And years later, when I was 29, another theater in Meadville was doing it and gave me a call. And I'm like, we know you live in New York City, but we'd kind of like you to come back and do this, because a friend of mine was producing it. So I commuted from New York City to Meadville to do a production of A Few Good Men at the Meadville Community Theater, or no, I'm sorry, the Meadville Academy Theater.
No, well,
And
which Daryl's running now.
our friend Daryl Whitney,
Daryl Whitney, what's up? I'm assuming you might be watching.
he'll click.
He'll click. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I just saw him the other night.
He'll hear his nose. Did you?
I
How's
did.
Daryl doing? I haven't seen him in a few
Daryl
years.
got married.
Did he?
Daryl got married. Calm down on the shock there.
I'm not shocked. I just I never had a.
I
I mean,
mean, he
I
got
don't know.
married
for him.
to a lovely, lovely woman, Lauren, and they came down and she saw Evil Dead for the first time. Much
Oh,
like
nice.
you, his first time was, I think, the first time that we did it.
Yeah.
And this timing hasn't worked out quite right. So he was able to come down, saw
Nice.
Evil Dead, grabbed a beverage, raised a glass to him and his bride.
Wow.
Just this past Sunday night.
They got married Sunday?
No.
Oh, you saw the
They came to the show
just-
Sunday. Yeah, they got married this spring.
Oh, okay, good for. Congratulations, Daryl. Seriously, that's
Absolutely.
awesome. That I always like good news. It's you get so few good news nowadays. Like, it's nice to hear good news.
I want to bring it all together for the viewers who don't know who the hell we're talking about.
Yeah.
Daryl was also in the Gallery of Heroes shows where I met Mark.
Yes, and he was a longtime friend of yours.
Yes.
in New
I went
York,
to school at Edinburgh with him way back before even Oklahoma City.
He's an
we
Erie
were
boy?
Double cast. He's an Erie boy. We were double cast as Count Carl Magnus in A Little Night Music when we were at
Nice.
Edinburgh.
You both played the same. I would never give you both the same role. I mean, obviously, like, you guys are like, I would never do that. Not that, I mean, you're both very talented and
Oh, yeah.
deserve the roles, but I would, type wise, I
It
would.
worked.
I mean, if you don't know, Daryl's like one of the best basses.
Daryl played Caiaphas in Jesus Christ Superstar with Ted Neely
Yeah.
for, I want to say, 3 years.
3 years on tour
And now
with
we'll
Ted
know
Neely.
if he's watching it, because I'll immediately be corrected if it was not 3 years.
It was a long time.
But my text notification will go off, and
you'll
and
feel
we'll
the-
get the view.
yeah.
So, but yeah, every now and then I'll be like, hey, text
Yeah.
Ted Neely.
Yeah.
He's like, all right.
Does he text back?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep,
Wow.
he usually gets back to him.
That's cool.
Yep.
Yeah, so Daryl, in case you're wondering, Caiaphas is the one that sings the really low stuff. I mean, yeah.
wait.
Yeah.
need a more
Yeah,
permanent.
he always wanted me to play Annis with
Right,
him
who sings real high.
real high, yeah. And now that I'm in my 30s, like, I sing high still, but, like, it's not as fun anymore.
You can still sing Nicely, Johnson. You can sing as high
Oh,
as
yeah,
you
I'm not
want.
saying I can't. I'd rather, like, have, like, my money note, instead of it all just being
Like,
money.
let me do one, not 47.
76, yeah. And sometimes that happens. Oh, you're a tenor. Okay, play Man 1 in Songs for a New World and sing all of the songs.
no.
I'm like, oh, God. Like, yeah, okay. And, and it happens.
That becomes a lifestyle change at that point.
Yeah. I mean, that's it. You just start on a G and then
Yeah.
go up.
We did. We produced Jersey Boys a couple years ago, Pittsburgh Musical Theater, and I was in that. And Adam Marino, who played our Frankie,
Yeah.
like, lifestyle changed. Like, he changes how he behaves. He makes sure. And now he's all over the country. I think he's playing it in Columbus in this December.
Well, if you're a good Frankie, like, there is work.
And
for
he's
you.
great. No joke. we're watching Sopranos, Gemma and I.
Yeah.
And Frankie Valli's in Sopranos.
Yes.
He plays one of the henchmen, and he's talking. I'm like, Jesus, he sounds just like Adam.
So
like, not Adam sounds like Frankie Valli. At that point, Frankie Valli sounds like Adam to me because his vocal tone and his accent was just so spot on.
He really inhabited the role.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I'm always wowed by the people who I'm on stage with. I'm always inspired. I learn from everybody.
Yeah, that's important
in life.
For sure.
But every now and then somebody
Absolutely.
stands out, and you're just like, damn.
All right, yeah. In that role, you will stand out if you're good.
You better.
Yeah.
And if you don't stand out,
there's a
you're not
problem.
around very long.
Yeah. I mean, Jersey Boys was the first show I saw on Broadway in 2008, maybe. I was like 16. Yeah, and like I probably seen it 5 times since. And yeah, I mean, Frankie, it's just, I mean, it won the Tony for Best Actor and Best Supporting Actor, Tommy DeVito. And it's nice to see that the rights are out.
Yes.
Because people are doing it everywhere. I believe Academy did it.
Academy Theater did it.
Recently.
Ted Watts directed that.
Ted Watts directed it.
There he is again.
Yeah, there he is, Ted Watts.
Impressionistic painter, or whatever we call him.
Yeah.
The Manet of the stage.
Da Vinci, whatever. Teddy Watts, who also has some fun credits to his name as well. So yeah, so like the three of you though were you kind of like the Three Musketeers for a little bit in New York, and
the Flying Gavone brothers. Ted's dad used to call us, which I think there's a Sopranos reference, and probably a few other
something Italian.
for other Italian families.
Yeah. I would guess.
I'm not sure. Is there a lot of Italian people here in Newcastle?
There's so many.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
Just checking. I don't know.
Newcastle. They Italian. And Middle Eastern. We have a lot of Lebanese and Syrian.
Gotcha.
So there's a lot of mix with that. Like, have some grape leaves with your sauce. It all mixes.
I'm down for
on
that.
Sunday. Yeah, I mean, it's the best of both
Down in
worlds.
Pittsburgh, I had one of the best gyros of my life today.
Where at?
In Ambridge, there was a place called Little Athens. My bank shut down, like the branch, so I had to go to a new one. And across the street, there was a place called Little Athens. I'm like, I could eat
Little
lunch.
Athens. It was
Yeah.
good.
And like, I'm not here to give a free plug to them, but damn, it was a good gyro.
Little Athens, sponsor us.
We would like some money, please.
Yes, your gyros are great. I like a good gyro too.
Yeah.
I'm a fan.
Like, it was the first time ever I got the extra tzatziki on the side
Yes.
and never needed to touch it.
Yeah.
Like, it was
Really?
it was a perfect
You didn't need the
blend.
extra. It was
I didn't
already
even
good.
need the extra. There was so much meat on it. I finished it. I was embarrassed. I did not eat my dolmades, my grape leaves, because there was just too much
You're
food.
too full.
Yep,
As you remember, we did go to Mary's one time. I think you came down,
that's right.
which is a staple in Newcastle.
Yes.
And then Bill's has a good gyro too. Bill's
Okay.
Sandwich Shop. But yeah, so the three of you. So like, and then did you guys like all move to Pittsburgh together again, or did you kind of all
We
just
all
end up
moved
there?
individually, but kind of came back for a lot of the same reasons, right? And let's see, it would have been 2007
Okay.
was when I moved back. And thought it was going to be another like 5-year stint. And I mean, that's 17 years ago at this point.
Yeah, well, I know. I'm like, because I graduated in 2010. I'm like, wow, that's getting up there. Yeah.
Yep.
So you thought you were gonna be there? Yeah. So here you are. And did you now? Because like my experience in Pittsburgh, like obviously you have to meet people and make connections to kind of get rolling a little bit. Not saying that that's a bad thing or
Nope.
anything.
That's anywhere.
It's anywhere, and it's a nice community. Pittsburgh's a pretty solid
Yep.
theater community, I would say. I think for the most part, it's pretty friendly.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
happy. It's a good
I mean,
place.
there are jerks anywhere.
Sure.
It's
It's theater,
there's good
too.
people anywhere. And I think the good people by far outnumber those who are less than.
Yeah, so that's important. I mean, I loved when I was in Pittsburgh. Like, it's so fun. I mean, I was doing like 4 shows at a time, like community shows and maybe like a children's theater show. But there's a lot of opportunity. Once you get rolling, you meet people
Yeah.
and stuff like that, and everybody has their own path, and it's great. So like, when you started in Pittsburgh? So like, were you going for acting gigs at the time more or directing?
So I wanted the directing gigs, and I was doing directing up in Meadville, but then I kind of stopped doing stuff up there. They wanted to handle things a little more in-house.
Okay.
I had come back actually to be a producing partner with that theater way back then, and it was just a model that they hadn't fully thought out, and
Yeah.
they saw some success. They're like, oh, we can do this. And I went, oh, cool. I just uprooted my entire life.
Yeah.
But, okay.
Yeah.
And then I was down in Pittsburgh, and I moped a little bit. But I did have the Gallery of Heroes going on, so I was working for the CLO, so there was some.
It's a nice 5-month gig. I mean,
Yeah.
you don't get a better longer paying gig in Pittsburgh.
Correct, and there was some artistic expression happening. But mostly I was slinging beers and just having a good time.
Well, you are a great bartender. It's sometimes like I'll just be at a restaurant and like you're there like bartending. I'm like or working or like waiting and like, but that's just something that's part of.
Now it's a travel money job. I still work for Mike's Beer Bar, who I don't know if
I
we're
love
going to
that
get
place.
a sponsorship up here, but I know they sponsored Evil Dead for us.
Oh, nice.
Mike's
Good
a good
for them.
guy. There actually is a Mike at Mike's Beer
They have
Bar.
hot dogs too, right? No,
They don't.
I'm thinking of something different.
No competition for Coney Island.
My bad. Yeah, no competition.
No
sorry.
There is
Sorry, Coney.
non-compete
Yeah,
clause.
No compete.
All good.
Coney's the best. We know Coney's the best. You're not going to beat Coney Island.
Mike does the steak on a stone. They do where you can cook your steak at your table on a 800-degree stone.
Oh, so that's pretty legit stuff.
Yeah, and then they also have like 75 local drafts.
That's it? Just 75?
Well, there's 80 draft lines, but a couple of them are like Iron City Light and Yingling.
Yeah. So 75 draft lines. I mean, as Pittsburgh's known, it's a drinking town with a sports problem.
It is.
It's,
I mean, boy, the sports problems seem to be more and more these days.
Yeah.
But at least there's drinking.
Yeah, it gets you through.
I mean, we're across the street from the Pirates Stadium.
Oh, that's
literally
right.
across
I've
the
been
street.
there. Yeah. Oh my! Did I see you there? I feel like
You
I
did.
might have.
You
Yeah,
did.
I did. I
I think you
remember
had a
the
fantasy
Bettis bar.
draft there once.
Yes. Well, you were with me for when we had my bachelor party. And
Right.
We went to Bettis Bar,
We went to Bettis, which is no longer
where
there.
you used to work there. Yeah. But that was a fun time.
It was.
We had a good time there.
We ended up at Burn.
The cigar place.
Yep.
After the Pirates game.
Yep.
We were misbehaving a little bit at the Pirates
Oh,
game. Left field loonies. We were being a little loony.
We were being a little. No one asked us to leave,
No, it wasn't like we were
and
swearing.
no one left because of us.
Right. It was good fun.
We stayed between the lines.
They weren't going to the playoffs, but they were going to have a winning season. So it was a good year. I mean, that's what
right.
people forget. It was
Oh,
a winning,
those were the days.
It was a winning season.
It was.
Corey Dickerson was great at the plate, and that was one of our big guys. But Pittsburgh. I mean, so obviously you've been here for a while. You enjoy.
I do.
Being in
I like
Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh a lot. I mean, for those, like I've got my Steelers tattoo that, how do you work angles? That I got when I lived in New York City.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which was awesome when they won a Super Bowl and I'm in New York City and people would like have the camaraderie, like, oh, you're from Pittsburgh. Ah.
Sure.
And now I live in Pittsburgh and now I'm another Jagoff with a Steelers tattoo.
That's it. It was cool in New York.
And I went from like hero to zero.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say anyway. Anytime I went and visited New York, I used to wear my Cavs jerseys, and people. And back when like LeBron came back and they won the championship, and like everyone was like, "Oh, cool, like nice Kevin Love jersey." But like you wear that in Cleveland or Pittsburgh. I used to wear them in Pittsburgh, and they'd be like, "Why aren't you a hockey fan, you loser?" Like
Pittsburgh's like the NBA. What on earth is that?
Yeah, like what are you? Yeah, never heard of it in my life. They really, like I used to live right next to Paint's PBG, and I would walk around with my Cavs jersey while people were coming out of the Pens games, and I would just get funny looks.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't.
It was the
mind.
jersey, I'm sure.
It had. It wasn't the.
I'm sure it was the jersey.
The lunatic. I was probably like walking angrily, like mad at some girl or something. Like, I'm like, yeah, that guy looks.
Well, if we're going to talk a
tense.
little bit of sports, you do know that I did pick up one thing when I lived in New York City.
What's that?
I'm a Yankees fan.
Oh, of course.
It's
Yeah.
the most wonderful time of the year.
Yeah.
Granted, it's been since 2009 since I've been able to feel this way.
It's been a long time.
Yeah.
And to make you feel it even longer, I started doing theater in 2009.
Right.
So it's been that's a long time.
Like
It's
your
15
entire career has happened.
And yeah, like 60
Since-
shows. Like 60
Since the Yankees
or
played
so. Yeah.
in the fall, I
And-
almost call it the Winter Classic.
And it's great because
It feels like it is later and later every year.
Yeah, I mean, you were a big Yankees fan.
Yeah.
I mean, you've always rocked the hat.
Yep.
And I mean, I always liked them too. 'Cause my grandpa grew up, being Italian. He liked DiMaggio and Phil Rizzuto, Yogi Berra,
Yep.
and Mickey Mantle. I think was like an honorary Italian at that
Right.
point.
Like-
Mickey Mantaloni.
It's like James Caan. Like
Yeah, no, I've
you
talked
get to a
about James
certain
Caan.
point.
Yeah, no, James Caan. What did he win Italian American of the Year like 4 times?
Right.
He's Jewish.
Yes.
He's not Italian. He's
Correct.
Jewish. He's won Italian American of the Year. So, but yeah, and hey, it's great. I mean, they got
talk
judged.
about a con man.
Right. Yeah. Right. But, we'll be
only-
here for another.
Yeah.
No, I'm a huge James Caan fan. It was sad to see him pass.
Yeah.
Him and Ray Liotta are like 2 of my biggest idols.
Yeah. Well, the older you get, the more people die.
Yeah, it's
that's
weird.
what I'm learning these days.
Yeah, I'm not a fan.
No,
of
me
it
neither.
At all. I don't.
I mean, it beats be on the other side of the equation, but.
Right. Yeah, that's true. Like seeing it happens a little
Yep.
bit. It's sad, but yeah. So I mean, so when you came to Pittsburgh, you kind of worked yourself in.
So you said, dude, I want to direct or act. I wanted to direct, but I found that the easier way to direct was to act for somebody first and then tell them that what I really want to do is direct.
Yeah.
Which I think is
Did
an
that
old,
work
like,
for you?
show.
Like
Yes.
that was your way of doing it?
That was my way. Like, let them know the human. Let them see that there is, some talent base there.
Yeah.
And then start to dig.
Well, I think all great directors that I've ever worked with have been really good actors. Even if some of them I haven't really ever seen on stage, but I've gotten to see like each. And I'm always like, they're all like they were all talented. But,
Yeah, and like, I think that that Venn diagram overlaps pretty big. Most good directors also can act, and most good actors could direct if they want to, but it's not a total overlap.
No, like I would
It
never.
really
want to,
isn't.
I might direct something. I'm not a director. Like I just like to be on stage. But
And that's an interesting line you brought up. That's the best compliment I've ever gotten in my life, and I don't hold water to it. I'm still trying to be better every day. The first year we did Evil Dead, my music director at the time, it was before Dr. T, was Bobby Newmeyer, who
I know him, yeah.
does everything in
another
Pittsburgh
great
as
music
well,
director.
another who's who of the Pittsburgh theater front. And he said to me, he's like, there's a lot of people who direct in this town, but very few directors.
that's the truth anywhere.
And I was like, I'm the second
you
one. Like,
looking at?
He's like, yes, of course. I was like, okay. I was like, I didn't want to assume, but and thank you.
Yeah, right. I mean,
cheers.
Are you giving me a
Right.
criticism, backhanded compliment here? Or what's
No,
going
no,
on?
but, and it was honest, it was genuine.
And
and
as
if you
it
know
sh-
Bobby Newmeyer, you know that he does not give out compliments unless they are earned. So I treasure that one, and I still try to be better every day. I take it with modesty.
And that's how you have to do it as an artist. We live very like day to day with a compliment. Like we take those compliments in, but they go away
Right.
quickly in the sense that if we're starting a new project or something, it starts over kind of like we take our experience with us, but you're still trying to prove how good of a product you can put out for your next show. It's not
Evil
about
Dead's a great example. I've done it 5 times, and I try to have a different assistant director almost every time because I need to see that focus from 2 sides.
Yeah.
Like if it's just me, it gets flat.
Sure,
There's,
like you
there's
want
no
someone to-
3D. I need that perspective. And, I walk in and I say, I'm going to do my best to never say, well, the way we've always done it is. I was like, there's going to be a few moments where I'm be like, I know this works. If we're having trouble solving something new, I can tell you what I know works.
right.
There's no shame in doing it, but you're different humans. Even if you're the same humans, now you have another year of experience.
Yeah.
Use it. Follow
Yeah,
your instincts.
You're letting them, and everybody's going to have a different take, and sometimes those takes are like, oh, wow, that's good. Never thought of that, It's nice to have that.
As a director, people, I'm sure at this point, some of them are sick of hearing me say it. I don't have to have the best idea in the room. I just get to decide which one's the best idea.
Yeah, exactly. That's a great point.
It doesn't have
Yeah.
to come from me.
No, but it can come from and when you're open like that too, I think it makes waves. I mean, it makes people respect you and want to work with you, and also like makes them realize, oh, this guy's trying to put out a great product.
Yeah.
And like when I first met you, Gallery of Heroes, I honestly I don't think I had any clue you were a director. I just knew that you were an actor, and I knew you were kind of like a jack of all trades, like because you know the lighting, you know all that stuff, and you've helped out in every which way I think throughout your career. When you said come to auditions for Assassins, and I was like, holy shit, like this guy's directs like he's doing Assassins. Like, I mean, that's like, that's a big Sondheim musical. And you got a huge turnout for that, I remember. There was a ton of people. And
We did.
luckily, like I said, there was so much talent, and there was a lot of equal talent
Yeah.
and stuff in that. But you picked the biggest weirdos, and I was one of them. And that was because it's Assassins. It's
Yeah.
about, the history of...
There's a certain amount of not fitting in that those people had. Otherwise, they wouldn't have taken the path that they took.
Sure, yeah.
So yeah, no, we had a gallery of weirdies.
I mean, and that show's still like a special moment to me, and I think you as a director, I mean, I don't know.
It's
like,
on the Rushmore.
If that put you on the map, but I think it helped you.
It absolutely did. I think the 2 shows that really got me noticed, there's a now defunct company called Company of Pittsburgh, that a man named John Biles ran, and I will be forever indebted to him because I got to direct last 5 years for him. But then I
know
also,
you did that?
after that, got to do, my last 5 years is fun.
Oh, I'm sure.
I like to have them in the same space, but in different time.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
not-
See, that's how you did. Yeah.
But, like, I had a lot of
Who
fun
played
with
those
that.
parts for you? Do you
John
remember?
Biles played one of them, and
John
Holly
Biles.
Scott played the other role in it. She popped up just recently. She was doing a Nightmare Before Christmas live read with Michael Cerveris as Jack Skellington. She popped up in
Missy
that.
was in that,
Missy
I think.
Moreno was in
Yeah.
that as well.
Yeah.
Also from Last Galileo. We have now mentioned every cast member of the Last Galileo.
Wow.
We had Daryl, we had Jason,
For that,
we
yeah.
had Gabriella was
My
Cassie,
wife.
your wife,
Yeah.
me, and Missy Moreno. Those were the five.
Those were the five. Yeah.
Yep.
And they actually, you guys
Catherine
have
Kolos was a swing, and oh, bless his heart, I can't think of his name right now.
Andy.
Yep.
I know that
And
because
Andy Mahalik.
Cassie talks about it.
Yep.
And says was really funny.
Sorry, Andy.
It's okay. I remembered, and I don't even know you. The irony. Yeah, because I did the show. Obviously, the next year
Mm-hmm.
was a revival of
The
great
incredibly
innovators.
innovators of Pittsburgh.
yes, but
Which just went out a third time last year.
I hope it wasn't as like infamous or as our production.
We
where-
had a rough final dress.
we did. I was passing a kidney stone for the
You were
record that
passing a kidney
entire-
stone.
and-
Hillary might have been passing a kidney stone.
We might have all been passing kidney stones. Me and Daryl were fighting right in front of the executives. It was great. I mean,
it was it was a Wild West.
but we all, at the end of the day, I mean, we all got along.
Everybody's
It
gonna
was-
sing. Nobody's gonna die. Tomorrow's gonna come.
Yeah, I mean, and I think the part that I
They didn't
played-
shut us down.
No, they didn't. They were like, we still got to go on. This kid's over here singing that the Pittsburgh won an NBA Finals. I was like making up words
You did,
until I didn't. I mean, eventually
Oh, yeah.
I'd had everything memorized, but
and it was memorized the run before that. It was just one of those in the moment.
Yeah.
You had 4.5 days to learn an entire show and then perform for the CLO administration.
and it was like one and a half tracks, really.
Yeah.
It was like a part and a half. They
because they
cut
cut a part out.
and they gave me half of it.
My part, if I remember correctly.
The part that you played the first time.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know. And then you had to cover it as a swing
Right.
when I wasn't feeling well, which was a few times. And
Yep.
I mean, you cracked me up because you just like gave it your all.
We
and
had
like,
fun.
And just like, yeah, it was a good.
Well, I lived with that. We did it 2 years the first time, and I was the swing the first year, and then I was in it the second year in the role that no longer exists. So I knew it backward and forward. I always felt bad because I was sitting there, I'm like, I know these words, and I know you're struggling with them, but how do I help this human who I don't really know
Yeah.
without coming off arrogant?
Yeah. No,
Well, I know the words, Mark.
I probably would have. Like,
It would not have gone well.
I would have been angry at the time. I was a pretty hothead at the time too. My young.
Those shows are great. I mean, they always come together.
Yeah, Galileo
And then
has
you
a
get,
cast
like-
recording. I mean, you guys-
Galileo has a cast recording.
and it's really good. I mean,
Yeah.
you guys sound great. They did a nice job with the sound
Billy
mixing.
Rossi did the
Billy Rossi, the
did
man.
the sound mastering of that, and Joe
Wonderful.
Domensic wrote it, and he oversaw it as well.
Yeah.
They're bringing that one back this year too.
Are they?
Yep.
Oh,
Yes, they are.
that's.
I will not be auditioning. It's time for the next Galileo.
Yeah, you're moving on.
The next.
Who could it be? We'll find out.
No, who knows? Maybe you'll have them on. Maybe they'll be sitting
One-
right here.
one day.
That's one of the last lines of the musical. Could be standing right here. So I was like, oh, I just did a play on words of a lyric that no one knows.
I don't even know it, to be honest, but I'm sure somebody does.
Yeah, Missy-
If Mike
Missy and Cassie
I haven't
will laugh at
messaged
that.
Mike. I haven't mentioned Mr. Cavalier today. He's one that directed Spelling Bee and directed me in high school, but he probably knows your.
I love Spelling Bee. I love that show.
Oh, it's so fun.
And you were fantastic in it.
Thank
I know
you.
that, like, this is all about me, but
It's
screw that.
all right. You can say it. Oh, what a fun show! I really wish I would have been able to do it with you when you did it the first time.
Yeah,
but
no, I had put an offer
Not
out
that
to come down.
I'm sure everybody was great. I'm not saying.
Oh,
like,
yeah, no, and
I'm
it
just-
was a great cast. It was
Yeah.
a fantastic cast. It was at South Park Theater. But, you know, there were, like, babies in that coming in your end, and
Yeah, we
that
had
was
some
a hell of a
babies coming.
commute.
Yeah, it was a little. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, it's really hard to get up to Pittsburgh. I think I've made a few people upset that I wasn't able to make it up to Pittsburgh. Not like in the
I get it.
years that I've been living in Newcastle.
Well, I can't imagine life three tiny.
Women.
Women.
Yeah, children. Yeah, young girl. Yeah.
I understand why you have these podcasts. I mean, because especially the sports when you're like, I get to hang out with a man.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Well, and even at school, like I teach in elementary school, like so 95% of the people I work with are women too.
Hey.
Luckily, the men that I work with are cool and like we can.
You are a kind and sensitive human, and you fit right in.
Oh, thank you. I mean,
and you also have fantastic eyelashes, so I'm sure that they take tips off that.
They probably get jealous because women, for some reason, never get the eyelashes that men do sometimes. I think because men are hairier, so
that makes sense.
eyes. Yeah, I'm a hairy guy.
Thicker filaments, thicker fibers.
But yeah, spelling bee is one of the. I would call it a hidden gem because theater people don't know it, but like the public obviously doesn't. And it didn't help our ticket sales, but it was probably one of the best shows that we put on there.
It was a blast
in a long time, and the people that did get to see it, I was very happy. Like we had some people that I love that came to see it, important people. So that's really what matters.
I caught that. I caught White Christmas. I saw the two of you back on stage together, which was awesome.
Yeah, that was beautiful. That's one for the record because Cassie, she's very selective with what shows she wants to do and stuff, and obviously she's a mother, and it's hard for us to do any shows, and luckily she lets me sneak out a little more, but she doesn't really care because there's a few shows she's like I really like that she really wants to do, but yeah, she's just that type. It was nice to have her on stage with
Absolutely.
me. I never felt more comfortable in my life than being with her. Probably more comfortable than when I'm with her at home because I'm like, you have lines to say. You can't tell me off any more than
what's gonna come
what the
next.
lines are saying, So I know that so.
When I've known Cassie for almost twice as long as you because I
Yes.
was the production manager and sound operator for Dora the Explorer Live at the Children's
freshman year.
Museum.
Yes.
Her freshman year of her first professional Pittsburgh gig.
Yeah, at the Children's Museum. I was
Yep.
just talking about that to a teacher friend today. I said it probably wouldn't fly today because she had to spray paint herself, and I don't think that would really go
I mean,
over
it
too
was
well.
a spray tan.
It was a spray tan. Yeah, not spray paint. I shouldn't
Right.
say spray paint.
I mean,
That
it wasn't
sounds
like
so bad.
Armor All or Rust-Oleum she was putting on.
And like not for nothing, but I mean she's good.
She's very, very
She's-
yeah, well, and it's a great conversation to have because I think people now understand that it's okay to say no to a role.
Mm-hmm.
And at that point in time, because we're talking, 2011-ish, 2011, 2012,
13
14,
years
14.
ago, whatever.
Yeah. You just took the job. Mm-hmm. And you might think, oh, maybe I should, maybe I shouldn't. Am I culturally appropriate? And you're like, no, I got a job.
Right.
I'm going to get paid. And now people are being a little more selective of who they offer jobs to and making a...
1 second. I think we're blurry a little bit. Oh, it's back. Wait. Sorry. Didn't mean to cut you off there. Were we blurry? Oh, okay. I was looking at the monitor. My bad.
That's all right.
I didn't want you to be blurry.
No, that's all.
They would think this is the
I
Howard Stern
appreciate
show
it.
or something. I don't know.
People, it's like an Andy Kaufman thing. People keep trying to fix the dial, and we keep changing the blurry.
Yeah, that would be very Andy Kaufman. But I'm sorry. What you were saying?
No, people are just a lot better at being sensitive to who should be playing what roles.
Yes.
And it's a conversation that can last forever.
Oh, and there's some good aspects of it,
Absolutely.
and there's some that I'm like, oh.
Well, I always say,
But it's just, again,
as a
it's my
straight
opinion.
white man, the pendulum used to be so far over here of privilege.
Yeah,
In order for it to get and stop down here, it has to swing.
yeah.
Like it has to swing. If a pendulum
does.
comes down and stops at equal, then it's a collision, and bad
Yeah.
things are going to happen. So the
Yeah.
fact that the pendulum's moving, and we have a long way to go, and I'm not afraid to say that. I have a long way to go. I've gotten much
I
better.
probably have the longest. I mean,
But
I'm still like, I'm like, man, why does everything have to be so politically correct? Like, I'm still like that
Yeah.
guy. I mean, you know me, the way I tell jokes and stuff. It's just like, I prefer like an open, happy world.
freedom of speech is a great thing. and
Thank God.
I've just gotten better at choosing what I say.
What you say, yeah, and that's. I mean, we've all, I think, adjusted and have been more sensitive to that over the years, and but yeah, it is good, and like, but it's also nice. Like, I mean, I saw Joshua Henry play Billy Bigelow in Carousel.
Mm-hmm.
Not usually, probably, very few African Americans have played that part. And thank God I saw him because I don't think anybody's probably better than him.
Yeah.
And
Well, he did Hercules too.
Yeah, I mean, and it makes sense. Like,
So-
why wouldn't you give him that? He is probably one of the greatest voices.
Yep, great voice, great physique. Of course you should be playing Hercules.
And not for nothing, I mean, we met him very briefly, but he seemed like one of the nicest people ever. So, like, I can see why he always gets work.
Yep.
Not only is he, like, the most talented, but he's also a very nice person. So that's, I think that helps, too, at times. Being a good person helps you move on.
Yep.
But, yeah, I mean, I like to go back to Assassins because, like, that was one of those shows, you had a strong cast. 4 papers reviewed it, and they were all great reviews.
Once we got the sound worked out, which we did.
Yeah, which we did. And also, like, it was just cool because that's a show that it's a Sondheim show. It's not Into the Woods. It's not Sweeney Todd.
Right.
It's not even Company. Like, it's kind of one of his
Yeah.
lesser known shows.
Those who know, and others go, it's about what?
But how well did it sell that second weekend? I
Yeah.
mean, it was fantastic. Like,
Yeah, we had, I don't think they were sold out packed houses, but they were full.
I mean, and it definitely was credited to, like, the press. I mean, the people that came and saw it and put stuff in the paper, nice things.
I know Ted Hoover did. I know that Mike Bazzelli.
Mike Bazzelli, yeah, he's a
Yep.
legend.
Yeah,
I love Mike Bazzelli.
he gave me a very, very kind review for Angels in America as well.
Yeah, he did.
And I actually just did a show with him. I did Off the Record.
Oh,
which
really?
is a food bank fund drive that they put together. A lot of the unions get together to put it together. Sharon Eberson ran it this year as well. Chris Lotta directed it. And a lot of TV personalities, newscasters and stuff get together and put on a variety show.
Very nice. Okay.
All about Pittsburgh. So
When was that?
That was this past Thursday.
Oh, okay.
Wait, if today, yeah.
Look at you just doing 87 things at once. That's
Well,
awesome.
My bio said Nick comes to Off the Record after a brief stint of standing next to Chris Lotta when she needed another guy. It was like, hey, you.
Hey, you.
Me? Oh, okay.
That's sometimes what it takes, It's nice to be that guy. We need a guy, But yeah, I mean, and one of my favorite moments was when we went to see Michael Cerveris, who's basically a Pittsburgh native. He's West Virginia.
Yep.
And his
Two-time Tony Award-winning Michael Cerveris.
yeah, he's not what you would call a scrub. I mean, he's my man. If you want to see some of the best acting in a song, probably his John Wilkes Booth performance in Assassins is probably the best thing you're going to see. One of the best things, obviously. I mean, there's so many great.
His Fun Home is very good too. So is his Titanic.
I saw Fun
Anyway,
Home, second row. Fun Home. I was bawling my eyes out at the end.
That's a role I got my eyes on someday.
That's a good role. That is a good role. I like that. Maybe that'll be the first time I ever direct something as fun.
All right.
Because that would be something I would like to get my hands on. I don't know if I would be the right person that some people would think for that show.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
But anyways, I'm not a director. But you are. And when Michael Service, we waited in line to see him. It's the second time I ever met him. I met him first at Fun Home. And because I worked with his cousin Lonnie, I got to bring that up to him.
Yep.
And do a conversation with him, and he's very nice, just a very sweet man, and humble. And when I said that we had just did Assassins, there was a lady behind us, and she was like, "It was so great," and she was just raving about it.
She pushed me out of the way
Yeah,
to tell
the
Michael
director.
Cerveris how good the production of Assassins was,
Yeah,
which
and-
I kind of said I don't mind getting shoved.
Yeah, at this point, no.
Shove
you
with
say
love,
what you-
my
yeah,
lady,
you can
shove
punch me in
with
the
love.
face, right? We're fine. Yeah, I mean, that was pretty cool.
That was a personal highlight for all of us because Cassie was with you. The two of you were both in it.
Yeah, yes.
As
She was Squeaky.
Zangara and Squeaky From.
I had to fake Italian at the end there. I don't even know what I was saying. No, I was kidding. I knew about half the lines. They got hard. I was like,
I see. It took you 7 years to tell me that.
See, you couldn't even tell, huh? La Cosa Nostra, something like that's all I remember.
Something like that.
No, the second part got a little rough, but that it was over. Like there was 80 things going on at the time, so it was a little different.
It is a very layered moment of the show.
Yeah,
Room to hide.
Yeah, and I hid. No, that was a fun role though. It was nice to be in the dunking booth, get electrocuted.
Yeah.
On the high A, screaming.
Yep.
Yeah, that was it. We did it carnival style.
We did. I mean, that was one of the original concepts. But my biggest issue with the carnival style was why are we there? So just kind of everything started to go away. So by the very end, we ended up with just a blank stage that we projected the Zapruder film onto. behind
Yes.
everything.
Yeah.
Right after the climax and
that was cool.
yeah.
I mean, that's always going to be a highlight. Cassie was pregnant with Cagney at the time.
Yep.
Here we are shooting off, the
Yep.
guns at the end.
Rob James did a great job. He got all replica guns that were
Oh,
fireable with safe blanks.
those guns
We did
were-
have a firearm specialist
They
on
were-
set.
they were sick.
No Alec Baldwinning up in here.
We were more responsible than that.
Yes.
I think so. Even though we did, we brought them down.
We brought them down. We never pointed them at people. It was always
right
over their heads.
Right over their heads, but it got the point across.
In the air, yep.
But yeah, that was a good one. Definitely great memories. But yeah, again, that was a lot of people auditioned, and you picked the weirdest ones to be in it. And thank you for that.
Ha! It was good times.
But yeah, I mean, I feel like after that, like you were you assisted directed for Christmas Carol at,
Yep.
at CLO with Page. Was
Patrick
it?
Page.
Patrick Page was
Patrick Page.
right after the legendary Tom Atkins
Yep.
stopped playing.
Yes,
the
it
part,
was.
Who played it for years and I mean, if you don't know Tom Atkins, just watch Halloween 3, and he is the main character in Halloween.
Yeah.
Halloween 3. He also was your Scrooge at Christmas Carol from like probably the early 2000s to
Yeah.
2016-ish. Yeah.
That sounds about right. And then Patrick Page came in for 2 years. And then John by Walton, I think, came in. And then Michael Cerverus did it for
there's
a couple
someone in
years.
between him
Yep.
and Cerberus. Okay.
So, yeah, but the 2 years I worked on it were both Patrick Page years.
With Patrick Page. Yeah, that's pretty cool. That's because he's very good. Yeah, but
I feel like we're getting the eyeballs. I feel
Oh.
like we've been chatting.
but yeah, but
we're,
no,
we're
it's
sitting here at 58 minutes. So
50. We're getting close. Yeah, we're gonna have to because coming up next is episode of Family Guy. No, I was kidding.
What?
yeah. So stay tuned for that. No, just kidding. But no, I mean, yeah. So like since then though, I feel like your directing career has really taken off, and it's also been a pleasure watching you on stage through that. I mean, I got to see you in The Birds, which that was the first time I seen you like really like subtle. Like I wasn't used to you subtle. Like, and I was like, wow, he can really pull it.
Connor
back.
McPherson, who's never written a complete sentence as a line in his life.
Yeah.
Well, it was like every single.
Those are the lines.
That's how every line
But
was.
it came off natural.
like, oh.
It sounded like you guys were just conversing. I mean, it really was just like that's. So I guess it worked. But
Yep, I'm
sure
glad.
it was weird to say it. at
Son of a
times.
bitch to memorize.
Yeah, but and then I've seen you obviously in Angels in America, which
Yeah.
it's like, do you even feel like playing another role after that? I mean, like, that role is just.
I would do part two.
Part
We'll
two.
see.
Yeah, well, hopefully we
see.
do part two.
We're hoping for it.
It was a great production.
Yeah, Tucker Topol was the director. Did a great job
Tucker,
there.
yeah. Is he related to Topol, like the guy?
Like the fiddler.
Yeah. Are they
Diddle,
related?
diddle, diddle.
I was wondering that.
I don't know.
No, just two
No.
thespians that have the
They're
same
not
last-
related to the toothpaste, the smoker's toothpaste mag.
It's like-
Either. No.
Interesting, but yeah.
Just a vague overlap.
But yeah, I mean, it's been great being close friends all these years.
Oh my God, it's been a hoot.
and,
And as always, you get older and nobody sees each other as much as they want, but effort's made, and that's all that matters.
Right.
Like nobody's going
Right.
to make it to everything.
And it's hard. I mean,
And I tell people anymore, anytime I have a show going on, like Evil Dead, which has 2 more performances,
go see it.
there's always going to be the next show. Try. Nobody gets to everything they want to. I certainly don't. I do everything I can to support as many people
And you
as
do a
possible.
great job. I mean, you come and we try too. Like, and
Right.
sometimes it's just me.
Life happens.
Yeah, I mean, the wife has to stay home with the kids, or
Yeah.
vice versa.
Exactly.
Maybe I'll let her go to. Maybe I can get her to go see that, and I'll stay home.
There you go.
Because-
You'll be just leave them
I
in
don't
the
know if
car,
we're
crack the
gonna- yeah,
window.
they'll be
It's
fine.
in a tent. You'll be outside too.
Yeah, they're tough.
I have no children,
They're
so
tough, yeah, obviously.
and I have all my clearances. So
Yeah, so no reason to call CYS. Right?
Exactly.
We're good. But yeah, no, thank you so much for coming on.
my
Nick.
pleasure. Thanks for having
It's
me.
been a pleasure.
I'm looking forward to more good stuff coming out here. You being on the board up here, I know is doing great things for the theater. So
Yeah, thank you. Hopefully we get a good season set up tonight. So
Hey,
we'll see.
fingers crossed.
Yeah, but everyone, thank you for tuning in to Take a Bow, and we're signing off. Have a good night.